Welcome to the coaching game. I'm Laurie Lawson and
I'm Terry Yoffe, and we are here in 2022 and
right.
coaches creating change.
as,
Woohoo!
as if there isn't enough change going on already, we're going to create some more.
I know.
But we're going to do it. We're going to be in control a little bit more than chaos, just a little, not a lot, and see where we're going. But yes, welcome back to the coaching game of
I am
2022. Hard to believe. Hard to
on my
believe.
screen. 1 second.
What are you doing?
Oops, there we go. Okay.
You
I
look
have
lovely.
something on my screen.
Oh.
Sorry.
No problem. No problem. So what we thought we might want to talk about is just a quick review of the year behind us and a quick, a glance ahead and some of the stuff we've learned in between and some of the stuff we're going to change and see where we end up with all this. So Terry, what are you musing about as the year begins?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know if you know, but last year I started working on podcasting,
I
right?
know you were interested in it, definitely.
I
Yeah.
did a few for an organization and have really been working at it. And lo and behold, I launched my
Oh,
intro solo podcast this week.
wow,
Uh,
congratulations.
And it's great. I mean, the feedback has been great. It's short. It just talks about me and what led me to podcasting and what led me down my own path. And starting Monday, I will be interviewing my first guest, who will be Magda of the International Coach
Uh-huh.
Federation.
Fantastic.
The podcast is called Extraordinary Work, Conversations About Creating Change. And it's talking to people that have created change in their corner of the world. What have they done? And we're not talking about the money they've made or the roles they've had, but going outside of that, what have they done that has been made an impact?
Wow. So where can we find this podcast?
Well, my solo podcast is up on my website, www.trycoaching.com. And if you go to podcasts and resources, you will be able to hear my first solo podcast.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations. I know that was a goal of 2021 and I kept getting it postponed because of all the craziness. So good for you. That's fantastic.
It took a long time to get it all together, let's say.
Mhm.
There were setbacks and everything else, but we managed to get it going. So I will be interviewing people twice a month.
Ah,
And I am
fantastic.
always looking for guests
Mhm.
that have created change in their corner of the world.
So should they contact you via
Sure.
your website?
Mhm, mhm.
Okay, it's Terry at TRY, Try Coaching.
Terry at trycoaching.com. So we'll see.
Well, that's a goal already manifested. And for the future, what is the future of that? What do you see happening as a result of your podcast?
You know, for me, it's about showing everyday people, ordinary people like you, like me, that they can always make a difference. A small gesture. It doesn't have to be anything magnanimous. Smiling at somebody can make a difference in someone's life. So
Just a small thing, yeah, just a small thing.
What have people done to make a difference? Again, we're not talking to the usual suspects of names of top celebrities because they do, but it's just everyday layman people that have done something extraordinary, have done some extraordinary work in their corner of the world.
And that's so interesting because on my my show before this show, I had a guest, Barbara Kenyon, and she loves this quote from Mike Dooley from The Universe.
Mhm.
And he said something about most people don't get started because they feel that their efforts are so small and they can't make a dent in the mountain. They're only going to make a small dent in the mountain. What they don't realize is that that's how the
Yes.
mountain got formed in the first place. So it's just you're right, those regular everyday people chipping away, just chipping away and making it happen. I think Magda's a fantastic first guest for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's and then I've got to line up I'm going to be doing 2 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So I already have a list of people that have agreed to be on the podcast. So we'll see how it goes. It's a very new venture, which I'm scared to death about. But we've already got it up on a few platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just have to see how it moves along.
Well, we wish you luck for sure. And yeah,
Well,
keep us posted, me especially, when your next broadcast is going to be. Is it at a regular time every week, every other week, or?
I don't know how they're going to land. There'll
Mhm.
be one probably the beginning of the month and one the middle of the month.
Okay.
I'm not sure how the person that's working with me is going to set up the schedule as yet.
So from that experience, what would you say was the impetus or the motivation that got you going in 2021 to actually make this happen in 2022?
You know, in 2021, I looked around and thought, what did I want to do? And I thought about podcasts. And, you know, as life would have it, people reached out to me that I knew to do some podcasts and some webinars. So that got the ball rolling. And then I started looking at people who would help me in my new venture and finally found someone. And it's taken us stopping and starting and figuring out what were we going to talk about, what was near and dear to my heart, what was my passion. And it's taken about almost a year to get it off the ground. So
Fantastic. It's really interesting. And a lot of people are going to think this is so woo-woo.
no,
If you put it out there, and if you actually just say it and verbalize it and put it into a concrete thought, the universe, whatever fate, the consequences, whatever you want to call it, yeah, responds. It's like, but first you have to put it out there. And I know you've been putting it out there all year long in 2021 because we talked about it and then said, oh, I'm not going to do this because of that. But it was still there. And here it is. It
and
happened.
yeah, and who knows? I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. Will it, you know, be a conversation that people will want to listen to?
Mhm.
I hope so, because it brings it down to earth that we're all capable of making a small difference. This doesn't have to be magnanimous. It doesn't have to be changing the world. It's what have you done in your little corner of the world that's important.
And that's kind of, that brings us to 2022. Well, for me, because it's like, okay, I was pretty sure I was on the right path, or at least I wasn't uncomfortable walking where I was walking. But I think what I want to do now is just, for lack of a better word, I want to say be a little more selfish and do exactly what I want to do now, and not what I should do, not what people are telling me this would be great for you to do. It's like, do exactly what I want to do. And sometimes that can be nothing. It can be like, I just want to do nothing. I want to enjoy what's going on. And I got, I'll say snookered again, because I said, oh, the pandemic's over. You know, let me make some plans. And then again, the pandemic maybe really isn't over and it's just taken a different form. So it's like, okay, I love that I don't know who said this quote, but it's like the future does not determine your present. It's like you can't say when the pandemic's over. You can't say when
Right.
things get back to normal, when Broadway opens, when the restaurants are open. It's like what's going to happen now. And I think that's what you're saying too. It's like who's doing what, and what impact are they having now? You know, future
Yeah.
plans are great, but as if we haven't learned anything from 2021, and that's a lesson I learned, it is planning's great, but boy, you better make it flexible so you can twist it and turn it. And yeah, because there is no straight path. It's just,
No, no,
maybe that's where all the learning and the fun takes place. I don't know.
yeah, it's about fluidity.
Mm, good
It's
word.
about really being fluid and not being stuck. Oh, I've got a path. This is it. And no, I got to go there. But what if that path isn't really open? Then, I was hoping to get this podcast off and running last year. It just didn't. Wasn't, whatever the reason, a lot of it had to do with me. So it happened this year. And where is it going? I don't know. If it works, it works. And if it catches on, I'm thrilled because there's a message. And if it doesn't,
You
it,
tried.
it's being fluid. It's not holding on so tight that something else can't come along. And maybe that's the message for 2022. Be there, be fluid, have your thoughts, but don't hold on so tight that if something else wants to come along, it can't get in the door.
Ah, that's a good message. That's a great message. Flexibility, fluidity,
Flexibility, you're right.
go with the flow. Just go with the flow, and accept it, and also celebrate that you have so many survival skills under your belt now. You had them probably before 2019, but boy, do we have them now, and they've been enhanced and expanded and everything. So accept that, you're probably going to be able to weather the bumps and the twists and the turns, and come out somewhere and make it a positive experience. That's another good thing we learned from 2021.
There was, I think, a lot of lessons for everyone in 2021. This was we all had to rethink, rewire, reconvene, if you will. So, for everyone, what are your thoughts? Not you personally, but generally for 2022. What's going to be different?
Mhm.
What are you collectively, we going to do that's staying the same? And even what's going to be different? And what platform are you willing to step onto, not knowing the outcome? Because we all love to know, well, if I step onto this platform, I want to make sure, dot, 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 dot. But what if we don't know? And for me, I don't know. And be willing to say, okay, if it works, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I'll take it a step further, and you can also step off the platform. And I think we're witnessing that like we've never witnessed it before. I don't have the statistics, but you can listen to any newscast, and it's people are quitting their jobs in droves and
Right.
becoming entrepreneurs, writing books, whatever they want to do. It's like,
Right.
what platform are you willing to step off of?
That's
Because
true.
stepping on is frightening, and stepping off is frightening.
Even more
But
frightening.
yeah, but standing still, and you may not be frightened, but you're just not going anywhere. So you're going to have to take a leap either on or off. So great lesson for 2022. What would you change that you did in 2021? It's like, what would you do differently?
I don't think there'd be anything. I've been having, as you know, some health issues.
Mhm.
So in spite of the health issues, I've been trying to forge ahead and figure out what do I want. I don't know that I would have done anything differently in 2021. I mean, I could, um, what I've learned is if you want to make something happen, you can do it. It
Mhm.
was like, I wanted to do this podcast. I had no idea. I started talking to people to help me and found someone to really work with me. And it's been a great partnership.
Mhm.
And so I, I think being flexible, being agile, being willing to pivot and not say, okay, this is my road, uh, and just going with it, even though it's scary. So for this year, what is it that somebody really wants to do and hasn't done?
Mhm.
How, and give it a shot.
Yeah. What
If
I
it,
would have done differently in 2021, I think it made 2021, maybe 2020. I would have made lemonade quicker. And by that, I mean, the pandemic came and it was like we kept waiting and it's like, oh, okay, I'll rerun shows because I can't get to the studio.
right,
And, and suddenly it occurred to me, well, I don't have to do that. I can tape by Zoom. And then the world opened up and it was like, whoa, what took me so long to figure that out? So it was, and I will tell you, there are blessings of the pandemic. That's one of them because it expanded my list of people that I could have on the show
right,
tremendously. And
sure,
now we went around the world and
right,
all my old
mhm,
contacts, I used to have to wait for
sure,
them to come into the city. And you and I are doing this on a regular basis and we
right,
don't have to go into the studio.
right,
So I think I would have made lemonade quicker and
mhm,
really that's a metaphor from uh, looking for the opportunity faster than I did. Eventually it came to me and I'm not going to, browbeat myself because of that.
right.
But it would have been so cool if it came quicker. If I had just figured that out a little sooner, I could have had a lot more guests on. But
Well,
so that would be a
yeah,
lesson that I learned. And hopefully I'm going to carry that into
yeah.
2022 and jump on anything that it's like, oh, change. Okay, well, what does that mean? And how can that help
Right.
me?
Well, most of us are creatures of no change, that
Yeah.
we like exactly where we are. And I think the pandemic upended all of that because it wasn't something, because we want to fix something, you
Yeah.
know, you couldn't fix it. There was
No.
no fixing this. It was here.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I did was I started walking a lot.
Yeah.
Uh, my gym was closed and everything else. So I started walking a lot. Um, so if we can be open and fluid and flexible and agile, we can move
Mhm.
in a way that serves us.
Definitely, definitely. And in fact, it doesn't, and you're right about change. Everybody fears change. Nobody wants change. It's like, oh, I just got this just the way I want it. Don't let it change. But there's another quote that somebody said, everything you want is just beyond that level of security, just beyond that fear line, just beyond that comfortableness. What you really want, it's out there, beyond all that. And the only way you get there is by taking that walk. And putting your toes in the water, if nothing else. You can jump in full blast, which I usually do. I'm not a slow person. I just jump in and go, oh, I hope this works out, and if not, I'll fix it. But also you can tip your toes in the water and go, okay, this might work. This might work.
And I think for everyone, if people want to take a step back, there's great learning
Mm.
in these last 2 years that we survived. We found our survival skills and we were able to make lemonade out of lemons
Mhm.
in a way, and find ways of working maybe differently, of for me going out and walking, clearing my head, um, and figuring out what did I want to do and moving forward. It might have taken longer, and reevaluating. You're right. The Great Resignation is what it's being called, and people are rethinking. This was a time to take a step back and rethink what do I want? What's important to me? Do I care about that corner office,
Mm.
metaphorically,
Right.
or anything else? Or does it not really matter to me? And starting to look at, well, what does matter to me? What message do I want to send? What passions do I have that I can tap into?
And also, like, what role do I want to play in the world? I think we all, if we learn nothing else, we learn that humanity, we're all a part of this big thing called humanity. We may not like this side of it or this part of it, but we're all a part of it, whether we like it or not. And it's like, well, what role do you want to play in that? And it's kind of like people who are making that little change. It's like, well, is that what you want to do in humanity? And what kind of change do you want to make? But I think that we realized a couple of things, that death will make you realize the value of life faster than anything else I know. And we all realized, whoa, we're fragile, we're vulnerable. We're not guaranteed that we're going to be here or the people that we
Right.
love or care about. So how are we gonna spend our time usefully? How are we going to spend it so that it matters? And it, to each person, there are no rules anymore. And that's another blessing of the pandemic.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. It's like, who's going to tell you you're wrong? We don't know what's right
Right.
and wrong anymore.
Right.
Maybe there is no right and wrong. Maybe that
No.
would be the beautiful
very
lesson of the
true.
pandemic.
And I so agree. I do. And it's, for me, it's always been about making a difference. As I look back and I did my intro podcast, I wrote it. It was really looking at, even as a young person, I wanted to make a difference. I was, and I think today the word is kindness. Out of all of this, it's the new currency, right? Is kindness, compassion, caring, courage, reaching out. And I do believe each of us has something to offer in whatever form it takes.
And I think as coaches, I think we kind of felt that little bug, that little voice in the back of our head that said, I want to be of service. I want to help everybody. I want to,
Service.
that certainly was what I wanted. I wanted to share coaching because it's like, wow, this stuff is cool and it works. I want to share this with everybody. So I think we were on the path, but this just, what is it, like the snowblower, you see, this just removed all the debris and go, whoa, here's a path now. How, where do you want to take it? But the path is clear. You're wide open now. Go for it. And that's what I see happening out there. And I feel bad for the people who are waiting for things to get back to normal, because I'm not sure normal is the way I want it anymore. I've changed. God knows I've changed, and I'm sure you've changed. And so I'm not sure. I don't know what normal is anymore. I think that's another thing we have to do in 2022, 23, 24 is redefine normal. What is normal? Or get rid of it. Why do we need normal?
Everyone's got their own definition of normal. However, it's shifted. I think the word normal, like doesn't really exist. You know, we formed our own definition. And for me, it could be different than you or Sally or John or whomever. And it's redefining what that means to each of us.
If you had told me 2 years ago that wearing a mask when I go outside is normal, I would have told you, you are crazy. But what, it's quite normal now. In fact, what's become abnormal is not wearing that mask. What? You don't have a mask on?
Right.
So
Yes,
you got to,
exactly.
again, we're back to flexibility. You got to roll with the punches. You got to adapt to what's going on out there. And in here, it's like, don't belittle what you're feeling, whatever you're feeling. Like, I know you're really fed up with this health problem, so don't belittle that. You deserve to be frustrated, then move on, because you know where to go for the next step. But to give yourself some time to be angry. I'm angry at a flat tire. What am I going to do? I know where to get it fixed.
Right.
I want to be angry for a while. It's like, why did this tire go flat now?
Yeah.
And why is it so difficult in New York City to get it fixed? But so, those are all valid feelings, and they'll take you to the next step if you deal with them. If you swish them down, you got to deal with them at some point. So you go for it and deal with them,
And yes, I definitely agree. And I think that everyone, it's not like we're all clumped together. Everyone has to redefine what's important for them and what they're looking to achieve in 2022. Certainly, we're not going to sit here and tell people what they should be looking at. What's right for me or you is not in somebody else's wheelhouse. So we all have to look at, what do we want to do this year? What would be important for me? And I'm hoping the podcast is part of it. And what's important for you as you are rethinking, what do you want to do? Untethered by past thoughts.
Freedom. And I think in the last 30 seconds, what we want to do, and what you're doing with your podcast and what I'm doing with the shows that I'm doing, is celebrating diversity, celebrating everybody and their individual coping skills and their individual problems and their individual talents and skills. And I admire that that's what you want to do. And I'm thrilled that you and I are going to do that together for 2022. So Terry Yoffe, again, another show where I love exploring with you.
Yes.
And we'll go ahead.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, that's right. Happy New Year.
And happy 2022. Let's see what we create.
Love it. Bye-bye.